So in this video we're going to look at how we convert between our different types of metric units. I will in another video look at imperial units as well as also how to convert between metric and imperial units and vice versa, but today we'll focus solely on our metric units. We will look at metric units of length, weight and capacity. Starting off with length, when we talk about length, it's the distance between 2 points, and we have these different metric units. The key to spotting if it's a metric unit is that it will always have the word meter within it, so millimeters, centimeters, meters and kilometers. Some of your imperial units would consist of inches, feet and things like yards and miles, but anything with the word meter in it is a metric unit. So millimeters is the smallest unit that we're going to look at. Okay, so if we were to consider looking at this ruler, the very small increments up here, each of those small increments is 1 millimeter. The distance between the 0 and the 1 here, that is 1 centimeter. So we can see from this that there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, and that's our first conversion. So if there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, if we want to change millimeters into centimeters, we simply divide by 10. However, if we want to go the opposite way and change centimeters into millimeters, we multiply by 10. If I wanted to measure something, say like the thickness of this pen, I would use millimeters. However, if I wanted to measure the length of it, I would perhaps use centimeters. So it's also important that you know what type of unit to use if you're measuring different distances. For example, I wouldn't use millimeters if I was measuring the distance between here and say another town. I would use something like kilometers. Up from centimeters we have meters, and again if we were to think of say a teacher's meter stick, that is 1 meter long and there is 100 centimeters within a meter, and we might use that to measure say the width of a room or the height of a room or something of that nature. If there's 100 centimeters in a meter, then if I'm going from centimeters to meters, I divide by 100, or from meters to centimeters, I multiply by 100. So these diagrams are quite handy for helping to remember whether you multiply or divide by 10, 100 or 1,000. And that's the handy thing with a metric system. It'll always either be just multiplying or dividing by 10, 100 or 1,000 to convert between those units. The largest metric unit of length that we need to know about is a kilometer. So a kilometer is quite a large distance. You would see them on road signs. If you were going from point A to point B, it might tell you how many kilometers that is, and there's 1,000 meters within a kilometer. So if I'm changing meters to kilometers, I divide by 1,000, and if I'm going kilometers to meters, I multiply by 1,000. So just a few examples of changing between units. If I wanted to change 75 millimeters into centimeters, we're going from millimeters to centimeters. I look at my diagram, it tells me to divide by 10, so 75 divided by 10 is 7.5. Okay, so the digits, because we're dividing and multiplying by 10, 100 or 1,000, will stay the same. If I'm looking at kilometers to meters, okay, so I want to change 3 kilometers to meters. Kilometers to meters tells me to multiply by 1,000. So 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. Okay, so 3 kilometers is 3,000 meters. Last example on length is centimeters to meters. If I want to change centimeters into meters, I'm going this way, so I divide by 100. So 3,290 centimeters divided by 100 is 32.9 meters. Okay, and that is our metric units of length that we need to be aware of. Moving on from that, we have metric units of weight, and generally the giveaway for a metric unit of weight is that we'll have the word gram in it. However, just be aware of tons. However, they are called metric tons, so that in a sense is the giveaway that it is a metric unit. Milligrams are the smallest unit that we're going to discuss, and milligrams are incredibly small, very light. They would be used to say measure the amount of say medicine or something of that nature. Grams again are still incredibly small. They might be used to measure say the weight of an apple, or if you consider a cereal box, it'll tell you the weight on the side of that in grams. A large cereal box might be around 500 grams, and again if you think of the weight, it's still quite light. Kilograms would be used to say measure the weight of a person. Tons, however, would be used to measure something much heavier, say such as the weight of a car. So each of these is 1,000. There is 1,000 milligrams in a gram. There is 1,000 grams in a kilogram. There's 1,000 kilograms in a ton. So again, if I'm going from milligrams to grams, I divide by 1,000. Grams to kilograms, I divide by 1,000. Kilograms to tons, I divide by 1,000. And the opposite direction, I will multiply by 1,000. So sticking with that, we'll look at a few of the examples. So if I'm going to change, in this case it's 3.2 tons into kilograms, so I'm going from tons to kilograms, so I follow that arrow and I'm multiplying by 1,000, so 3.2 times 1,000 is 3,200 kilograms. Okay. The next one, 0.27 kilograms into grams. So if I'm going from kilograms to grams, again, I just follow my diagram, kilograms to grams. I am again multiplying by 1,000. So 0.27 times 1,000 is quite simply 270 grams. All right. And the last one, I'm going to change 719 milligrams into grams. So milligrams to grams, I am dividing by 1,000. So 719 divided by 1,000 is 0.719. Again, the units or the digits, sorry, are always the same. It's just changing the size of the number by multiplying by a factor of, or dividing by a factor of 10, 100, or 1,000. Okay. The last one we're going to look at for our metric units is just capacity, and there's two that we need to know about here, is milliliters and liters. Okay, so again, milliliters is the smaller of our units, and again, you might use that to measure, say, the amount of liquid in, say, a glass of water, or even something such as a spoonful of medicine. Liters would say measure, you can get 2 litre cartons of milk or fizzy juice or whatever, or something like the amount of petrol you might put in a car tank, or the amount of liquid in a pool, the amount of water in a pool. Okay, so these are for our larger capacities. All right. There's 1,000 milliliters in a litre, so milliliters to litres I divide by 1,000, litres to milliliters I multiply by 1,000, go in this direction. First example, 352 milliliters into litres, so I'm going this way and dividing by 1,000, so that is simply 0.352. And if I want to change 8.34 litres into milliliters, litres, I'm going this way, so I'm multiplying by 1,000, so that becomes 8,340. Okay, so straightforward enough. With any of these examples, we're simply multiplying or dividing by 10, 100, or 1,000, just following the diagrams that I have put at the top of each of the pages. I will give you plenty of examples to try, and anything you're unsure about, just ask.